Money Shift here. Today we are going to be putting the brand new Toyota Tundra TRD Pro up against my 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road in a battle of proportions. As you can see, these two trucks may share a family resemblance, but they have distinct differences in size and stature. And in this video, we'll be comparing the exterior and interior dimensions of the Tacoma and the Tundra to help you decide which one is the right truck for your needs. I'm excited to dive into the similarities and differences, so let's get started and see how they measure up. Looking at the side of the brand new Toyota Tundra, you see one thing very clearly. This truck is just bigger than the Tacoma. And while that might not sound like a surprise, the surprise really is how much bigger. The Toyota Tundra is 14 inches longer than the Toyota Tacoma. It's taller, it's wider, it's a bigger truck. This Tundra is an absolute unit. And looking at the Tacoma, you might have thought, oh, with the revisions they made for 2024, it's gotta be bigger, right? And it's slightly larger than the outgoing model, but it still pales in comparison to that Toyota Tundra. So if you're doing some city driving or places where you have to navigate tighter locations, the Tacoma is definitely going to be your pick just because of how massive that Toyota Tundra is. Now that massive lends itself to the interior, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Rounding to the back of these trucks, I love the design of the Toyota Tundra. It's square, it's blocky, it's macho, it looks really good. But looking inside the bed, we have a rather simple setup. We have our rails all the way across, two lights, and one power on the right side. Now you can open up the tailgate by either doing it the traditional way or via a button on the tail light, which is really cool. You can do the same thing on higher level trim Toyota Tacomas, but this feature was introduced in the Tundra, which is quite nice. Rounding out the back of the Toyota Tacoma, and you get a design that's very similar to the Tundra. It's literally Tundra Light here, and I love that. It looks good, it looks strong, but inside the bed, things do differ a little bit. On the left side, we have USB power. On the right side, we have an outlet and some storage, two lights and rails. It seems like there's a little bit more functionality in the Toyota Tacoma bed versus the Toyota Tundra. And that Tundra over there, that's Big Hoss. That's a TRD Pro versus my lowly TRD Off-Road. So it's not a knock on trim level. It just seems like Toyota has more functionality in that Taco. But where the functionality stops is when you get to the inside, because man, this Tundra is absolutely massive. While it doesn't have much under seat storage, because this is the TRD Pro after all, and that's where the battery is, the Tundra is larger in every dimension in the interior space. I'm 6 feet tall, and as we get into the cabin of the Toyota Tundra, you'll see one thing very clearly. I got tons of legroom. My feet aren't even close to the front, and although my head is close to the roof, thanks in part to that large sunroof, I'm super comfy back here. I got a place to put my phone, power, cup holders, an armrest. The rear seat in a Toyota Tundra is a nice place to be. And by contrast, while it's obvious that the Tacoma is smaller, it's interesting to see how much smaller the Toyota Tacoma is. Again, I'm sitting behind myself, I'm 6 feet tall, and my feet are touching the front seat. But because we don't have a sunroof in here, I actually have a lot more headroom in the Toyota Tacoma than I did in the Tundra. We also have cup holders, no place to put your phone, but we have power, one map pocket, no armrest, and you can do short drives in the back of a Tacoma, no problem. Comparing the front of these trucks, you'll see they look so similar. The Tacoma on the left, the Tundra on the right, they offer a very similar design, which is why when you hop in either one of these trucks, it just feels like a larger or smaller version of the other, depending on which truck you're jumping into, and that's okay. In fact, that's quite good because the layout of these trucks is so easy to understand. You have buttons that control various functions on the left, you have knobs and switches in the center, and the steering wheel on both of these trucks is exactly the same. The left side controls the instrument cluster and the audio, and the right side controls your adaptive and cruise control functions. So the layout in both of these trucks is just so simple, so easy to understand. I like the buttons that the Tundra has here. Some of the materials, like that gloss black and the shifter handle, do feel a little cheaper in this Tundra, but but by and large, you have pretty much the same layout, just with more width in the Tundra versus the Toyota Tacoma, which is good. Toyota put a lot of thought into the orientation of this setup, and it shows very quickly with operating both of these trucks for 5 or 10 minutes. Everything is exactly where you expect it is, and that is nice. It's very easy to use both of these trucks. There isn't a large learning curve when you purchase them. They're comfortable. They feel familiar because everything is right where you want it to be. Your HVAC, your audio, your other controls, whatever it is, everything is naturally where you want it. So that is the extensive comparison of the dimensions of both of these trucks. Let me know which one you would take in the comments. Massive shout out to Toyota here at IMPA Spring Break for providing that TRD Pro Tundra to use for this comparison. I love the look of both of these trucks. That Tundra in terracotta looks awesome, and I love the style of my Tacoma as well. I think Toyota nailed it with the design of both of these trucks, and I think the size of them is different enough that they have different uses for different people. They aren't encroaching on the same territory. I'm Money Shift. This is another episode of Tacoma Files. We'll see you next time.